Great Britain was once a power not to be reckoned with. From 1850 to 1914, they were in an early developed stage of their empire. They had colonies all around the world paying them taxation revenue and royalties for control of their lands. And they had 24% of the world's landmass, 140% debt to GDP, and a pound that bought them $5. But by 1914, World War I began and the dynamic changed. They were now spending a lot of money, lots of deficits, and increasing their debt. By the end of World War II, they had a 435% debt to GDP, while at the same time, they had only 7% of the world's landmass, as they had to give back their colonies' independence and weren't receiving the income they once were from their colonies. At this point, the pound was buying $4.03. And by 1949, really when the US overtook as the power of the world, they devalued their currency by 30%, pretty much overnight, going from $4.03 to $2.80. People who had pounds were very upset. They saw the pound's value lose 30% in value literally overnight. But for the country itself, now with a low currency, they were able to sell around the world, export around the world a lot cheaper. The world was getting a very big discount if they bought things from the UK. They managed to get their income higher with a low pound. Their income from 1941 to 1967 was 7% increasing in GDP, 7% growth in GDP. 4% of that was inflation growth because they kept their interest rates low and they stoked inflation, 4% being inflation growth, which helped them pay down their debts. It's a good technique for paying down their debts is to have higher inflation. And their debts by 1970 were 150% of GDP. They'd fallen considerably. But it wasn't for free. You see, the pound now bought $2.40. So you started with a pound that bought $5 back in 1914. Now it bought $2.40 by 1967. And if you look at the pound today, it buys $1.25. So if you want to use your currency manipulations and interest rates and different ways of paying down debt, the side effect is that your currency generally will fall against the other currencies. Your status, your power as a country, your status in the currency markets falls. And your ability now for people who are citizens with British pounds to go overseas and enjoy yourself and have a strong power converted currency is no longer the case. You lose in the sense of that power and things change. So the pound and Great Britain is no longer considered such. The rotation of power has happened and there has been a decline in what was once the British Empire.